Ben Schnuck is, as the young kids 20 years ago would say, living la vida loca. But just how vida is his loca? It's Oye mi cuerpo pide salsa loca, because he went from being a prominent magic card altar artist to a proper magic card artist. But rather than listen to my nonsense, let's hear what he has to say about his vida. You are so young.
Yeah, a little bit. I was hoping to take the title for youngest magic artist, and then they did the extra life secret layer with the children
Oh,
artists.
that's right. Oh, that's great.
But I'll take what I can get.
And I mean, okay, so just introduce yourself to everyone, and I mean, this is sort of exciting for me because I kind of just want to hear the story as it happened. It's incredible what happened to you.
Yeah.
So let's go from the beginning.
Sure. Well, my name is Ben Schnuck. I had the absolute honor of working on one of the most recent secret layers, Shades Not Included. This all started back in May of 2021. And I was messaged on Twitter. I didn't have a professional email. I didn't have anything set up, and I was messaged on Twitter by one of Wizards art directors, senior art directors. And it's really funny. This guy had he's wonderful to work with. I should say that first off, and it was awesome to work for him. But he had like 12 followers, no profile picture, and he sends me a DM on Twitter, and I read it and it's like, hey, this is so and so from Wizards of the Coast. We'd love for you to illustrate a project for us. And I read it. I looked at the account. And I was like, this is crap. This is not real. But I sent him a message anyway, and lo and behold, it was real. That was back in May. We got started in about June of 2021. And let's see, I think I finished work around, I think my due date was August 15th. I think that was it. And yeah, so that was the whole thing.
And when you have been for a while, from what I understand, you've been an alternate art card maker sort of in the past, correct?
Yeah, so I am a proxy artist. I designed proxies. I started during quarantine, and the purpose of these proxies was to either make cards. Should I explain what a proxy is? I don't know if
I
that's
mean,
something that's
I do. I guess it wouldn't hurt, but maybe for just I guess for the full effect. Yeah, why not?
sure. A proxy is a stand-in for a card. Proxies are, say for example, if you want to play competitive EDH for whatever reason, many decks would require you to have Time Twister in the deck, but Time Twister is a
Expensive.
yeah, what, 2000, 4000, $6,000 card, very expensive card.
Yeah.
That is not super, if you're just playing for fun with your buddies, why do that? So you get a proxy. A proxy can be something as simple as paper with like a Sharpie on it put in front of a basic land and a sleeve. That's a proxy. Some people like to make fancier proxies like me. I started out, I wanted to make a special version of my commander for a webcam CEDH tournament or league I was a part of on Discord. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll just make a proxy. This was at the beginning of quarantine because I couldn't go really play FNM anymore. And I did that, and it was fun. And in order to get them printed through like just an online printer that makes like little cards, I needed to make like a set of 11. And I could have just printed 11 of the same cards at a minimum, but I wanted to make a whole bunch. So I made a whole bunch of my original series. I made just little edits of cards like Mana Crypt, Force of Will, expensive cards that I put in a lot of decks. I only own one copy, so I don't want to move it from deck to deck. So I just make proxies. lo and behold, those designs, people really liked them. I posted them in the Discord. People really liked seeing them over webcam. People wanted their own. Now proxies aren't cool to sell. You can't sell proxies.
Right.
Because they contain intellectual property from Wizards of the Coast. So if you ever see those Etsy posts of people selling proxies, don't buy them. It's not good.
Right. Right.
And so, but anyways, I got some steam with my proxies. I showed them off. I sort of entered the Twitter proxy community a little bit. And from there, things were really, really good. I had a nice little following. I eventually started a Patreon where I made custom tokens. Here, I just make little tokens every month. This was my food token I made, and I make those every month for patrons. And then, time passes. I have a decent following. Let me get an example.
Oh, and by the way, too, I can cut things out. So if you wanted to send me the actual images of what it is you're showing off, I can put them up on the screen.
Oh yeah,
talking about them. So don't worry about any fidgeting for it. If you want to, if you want to hold them up and say this is what I'm doing, I can then put the actual image over it.
Sure. So. Yeah, absolutely. Let me grab, because I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull them out and then I'll remember which ones I use. I'll probably send you the images tomorrow because I'll make them up in like a card form. But anyways, so I was doing the Patreon stuff for a while and I'm making proxies, but I can't. I'm a college student. I'm 21 years old. I don't have a ton of money, so I want to make some money. And so I come up with this. This was I think the first design I made of a mountain in a probably now familiar style.
Yeah.
But I posted this. This was a proxy. I posted this on Twitter. It got a lot of attention. A lot of attention. Like the professor retweeted it, which, blew my mind at the time.
That'll do it. That'll do
it. Yeah. And so I made a whole series. I'll send those to you, but I have a whole series of all the lands and I could sell those. And I did sell those. I sold a lot of those. People really liked them. A lot of people in the EDH community, like if Shivam and stuff, were big fans. And so I had a lot of people putting my name out there. And I assume that's how things came together with getting messaged on Twitter by my art director. And
was it Tom Jenka who
Yes, yeah, it was Tom Jenka.
Yeah.
And he and from there we got started. I was just fooling around during quarantine. I was doing another sort of hobby. I love to create. I love to make things. And I've just completely fallen into the Magic community. I only started playing Magic back around Core 20, so like 2019.
Oh my God, me too.
Okay, right on. Yeah, so right in the same area.
Wow.
And yeah, I've just fallen in. I worked at a game shop because I love games. I loved board games first. I'm still a big board game fan. But then I fell into Magic as a byproduct of working at a game store. You can't really avoid that.
Right.
And then from there, I took this up during quarantine and here we are. That is about the sum of my journey.
That's quite a journey. Also, in the background, you have quite some magnificent pieces of art. What cards are those? It looks like there's a Soul Ring, and
that is the Monkey Ragavan. I picked both of those up when I went to MTG Vegas because I had a following, like a somewhat decent following, not a huge, I'm no celebrity or anything, but I had people who knew me. I ran into some folks that I knew. One of my good buddies, Lou, who I met through Magic, was there, and he's just a limited all-star. This dude is just so good at cranking out wins in draft formats. And so he got a whole bunch of tickets while I was competing in the modern event, because you can only get these for earning tickets and spending them. You can't just buy them. But I bought the tickets off of him, and then because he didn't really care about prizes, and I was like, hey, I really want a monkey. And so that's how I was able to walk away with not one but two of them from that weekend. It was super fun. And
explain to me the exact moments when you really understood that you were now officially a Magic artist, that you
Well, that's the
Where
thing.
you?
I mean, the moment that happened was the day I got the notification that they actually came out, because obviously I had done all this work. I had gotten paid already. You know, I had submitted back and forth with proofs. I had video chatted with with Tom Jenkott. Um, and part of me still didn't think it was real. I still didn't think this whole thing I still think something was going to go wrong or
Mhm.
whatever. I didn't believe it. I was obviously very excited. But I was like, this isn't going to happen. And here we are. And I am just now, like, I mean, the first time I really realized it was when I saw everyone else freaking out about it, as crazy as I was freaking out about it when everything began. Um, because it was the funniest thing was when it was revealed in the IGN article. um Everybody in the proxy community, their first gut instinct was Wizards of the Coast has ripped off another proxy artist. We need to get angry, get mad. And it
Rally
was
the troops.
yeah, exactly. That's what people were doing at first. Everyone was super mad. It was really funny. Some like close friends of mine were like, yeah, that layer that they just revealed, the shades not included, looks terrible. I hate it because they ripped off my friend. And I was like, well, no, guys, hey, that you know, that is me. And
That's hilarious. Oh my God. They're
uh
being like, oh yeah, that sucks. It's not nearly as good as yours. And you're like, it's
yeah, and I
good.
was like, well, it is me. People were very excited, and it was an awesome day. I got the notification. I think I tweeted about it, but I got the notification of the article going up, because I was in my lab, because I was in my, what was it, my electronics one lab, and I was sitting there, and I got a Discord notification that said, it was like from our spoiler bot in my university magic Discord. And it was like, hey, here are these cute chibi planeswalkers, which is the other Secret Lair drop. I was like, oh, they showed off another Secret Lair drop. Like, they've showed off the Street Fighter, they've showed off the chibi. Mine's probably happening soon. And then the next update appeared, and it was the Kaito cards or whatever, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then I got a notification on Twitter that said, "Hey, at Ben makes stuff, is this you?" in all caps, and I was like, "Oh God, it's happening." And at that moment, I was like, I need to get out of here.
Uh-huh.
My lab is going on. I just left. I just got up and left.
Right.
I looked at my buddy. I said, just tell me whatever happens. I have to go.
Like
Um,
just like fuck it. I need to go just enjoy the day for
yeah. I mean, I would, the whole ride home, I will never forget that drive home, because my phone is like it's like a rocket engine on my car console, just vibrating from notifications.
wow.
Um, and it was just the longest car ride home, because I was like, I'm gonna send out a post about this, which was my post. I was like, hey everybody, this is me. And then I need to get home because I can't manage this on my phone. I have to get to my computer. And that was what happened. And it's insane. It is absolutely insane where I'm at right now. Like, I'm talking with people about having prints made. People want my proofs. People want, and it's bananas. Like, everybody in my local area, like whenever I go to my LGS, they I don't want to say tease because that makes it sound mean, but they're always talking about it. They're all so excited about it. And I'm just, very over the moon about this whole journey. I would love to do it again. I've already told Wizards, like, hey, you need someone who wants to get you coffee. I will do that. I don't care. I'll work for free. Um,
Yeah,
but
that's. I mean, you have such
yeah.
you being so young, you have such a promising, everything going on in front of you.
I guess the thing is, and this is the thing that throws a lot of people for a loop, is I'm not an art guy. I mean, I obviously do art. I like to do art because I like to be creative and whatnot. But I am, like, I study computer engineering and math. I'm a STEM guy,
Wow.
and I just do a lot of this stuff very, what's the word, algorithmically. Like,
Mhm.
I do everything with lots of safeguards. Like, every 3D scene you see, like the island behind you, for example, like, I render first. I do all sorts of editing. I'm not a traditional artist or anything like that. I just like to fool around with my computer. I'm a computer guy. um And, all the stuff that I do is a byproduct of, like stupid YouTube tutorials and learning different styles and wanting to imitate. And so the fact that I'm now here and people see me as a legitimate, serious artist
Well, I mean,
it's strange.
here's the deal. You are a contemporary with people like Donato Giancola and Todd Lockwood, whether you like it or not. I mean,
Which is strange. Like the strangest sort of surreal thing that recently happened was Aaron Miller, who's an artist I respect immensely. I was reached out to and asked like, hey, do you want to be the guest artist on Aaron's Patreon this month? And I was like, yeah, of course, but like, wow, that's a lot. And yeah, I just couldn't be more excited and happy. I've been told that like one of the strangest things is people are very weirded out by playing against an artist. Even though I've been an artist this whole time, now people are like, oh my God, I'm playing against a Magic artist. Like,
but
I was a player first and an artist second. And I've learned that it's not a very common arrangement for that to be the case.
I've interviewed quite a few artists, and a majority of them have not really even played the game because they've just they were artists first, and and Magic is the game that you want to get into being an artist. But you're a competitive player too as well, because I mean I know that, and I won't keep you for too long because you have a tournament, you said.
Yeah, I'm actually going to like it's a, I don't know, I don't want to call it a 1K or a 2K. It's a tournament for a dual land. But yeah, like I'm going to go compete today. Like that's usually my weekend plan is I compete 3 times a weekend. And I'm going to the big Hunter Burton in Texas next weekend. And I'm going to SCG Dallas because I love playing the game. I play the game all the time. It's all I do. I could move my camera, but like my desk is just, covered in Magic cards. But and the other thing too, alongside being a player and the artist, is I'm also a judge. I recently became a judge probably 2 months ago, because I love the game. I love talking about the game. I love learning about the game. And I've been told that
Hasbro in like 2 months now. I mean, like,
well, my next thing is designing a card. That's what I'm working on next. But
I mean, who's to say? I mean, you certainly, mind blowing. I mean, like, what an incredibly talented.
I'm just, it's life is too short to just do one thing.
I mean, yeah. Like I'm 40, so I've lived like 2 of your lifetimes. Like life's really short for you because 5 years ago that was a quarter of your life.
Yeah,
I truly am blown out by how just young and just how you are so leveled with how you do things. You're like, I started in 2019 and I'm a judge, and then I became an artist. And you're just so cool, calm, collected about
it. It's for me, I mean, we can dive into the nitty gritties of like imposter syndrome and stuff like that, but it's more of a tenet I try to live by is like idle hands are the devil's plaything. Obviously, take the religious aspect out of it, but I just like to be busy. I like to do things. I do a lot of things. I'm very busy right now, for example, because of this whole thing. But I like to be busy. I like to do stuff. If I'm not doing stuff, I'm just going to do nothing all day. And for what? What is that going to do? So, and it helps that I really like attention. So like competing for attention is very easy for me, which is what I like to do. But it's just I just want to do a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff to do.
I mean, it's exceptional. I mean, when I was your age, I was probably doing my best impression of Hunter S. Thompson in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Well, hey, there might be some of that too, like but yeah, no, I just love Magic, and it's just all I want to do.
And the style that you chose, it's like new wave. Is that the name of it, or like it's the sort of like it's the very like the Miami Vice, like retro 80s chic, kind
Yeah,
of.
there's a lot of different names for it. You sort of captured it well as the Miami Vice or the 80s. There's like the most common one that I try to stick to is Outrun, but you can also call it synthwave. There's some like vaporwave elements, although vaporwave is a little bit different. There's
Yeah, I looked up
I don't know,
vaporwave and I was like, is this? I was like,
vaporwave.
I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out. I was like, is this a style of art or is this music? I wasn't.
It's actually both. Yeah, it's both a genre of music, and then because of the music it makes, I love vaporwave as a disclosure.
How does that work? How does it work as music and and an art style at the same time? I mean, is it like installation driven or what?
That's a good question. It's so I mean, I'm no expert, but I do consume it a lot. Vaporwave is predominantly made of it's like taking other songs, other samples, other people's stuff that they've done. You could say remixing it, but there's a lot of chopping and slowing and skewing and making it very wavy, I guess is the best way to
Oh,
describe it. It's a very chill sort of wave. It's very retro. They'll often use like one of the most popular samples is like a I think it's a Kmart catalog audio sample or something that they
really?
use all the time. Like it's very sort of I don't want to say anti-corporate because there's no like direct message, but it's always sort of breaking down corporate stuff and relabeling it as music. It's very cool. I really like vaporwave. One of the most famous albums is like Floral Shop by Macintosh Plus, which a lot of people probably know. But yeah, and then on the other end of that is sort of the synth wave, which is a lot more synth heavy, more original music, and then you start getting into Outrun, which is a lot darker, grittier. Like if you've ever seen Drive, the soundtrack of Drive is
Mhm.
very is sort of like that. I mean, what else? Like the
Is the
obvious one to point to is like Far Cry Blood Dragon from forever ago. That was very Outrun, very like neon and what's it called? Wireframe is a big motif,
There
stuff like
was
that.
a show that was out very briefly called Moonbeam City a few years ago, and it was very much like done in the style of like the synthwave. And they had this group called Nightclub that did the music for it. If you ever look up Moonbeam City, it's like imagine like a
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
Archer.
yeah.
It was
It
like
is exactly
Archer.
this.
That was what turned me on to it. I was just like, I can live in this world. Like I could live in your mountains. Like they're so
Yeah, that's
peaceful.
I just really like that style. If you look at like my old Patreon tokens, like I do that style all the time. It's what I did for my upcoming one. I just did. I just it's and it also works out because it's very simple. It's like if you look at all of the landscapes that I did for the Secret Lair, they're very simple. They are just like little mountains or a plains or whatever with wireframe. I add a cool sun or moon with the sky and some glow. It's very simple. I honestly think that anyone could do what I do. Um, but that's why I like it because there's some nuances inside of it that you can like sort of find your own little voice, find your own little style inside of it, and
I
make it
would
your own.
I would
Yeah.
love to see you do like remakes of like famous lands, like whereas like the like reconstructing the actual like paintings in your style,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
like
that would
like
be
uh like Beseju or something crazy like that, like
yeah,
legendary lands. Yeah,
yeah,
that would be super cool. Um,
because
and that was actually something we touched on a lot when we were working on them, specifically with the planes. Um, the planes when I did it, I had a lot of trouble with the not a lot of trouble, but I had some trouble with the temple that's in the background. And one of my first things I did is I wanted this to be I mean, it's Outrun. It's sort of mystical. I want it to be cool and mysterious. So I had the temple front and center with a giant pillar of light coming out of it. And that looked very cool, but my art director pointed out, hey, that looks like a legendary land. That doesn't look like a basic land. And he was totally right. And so little things like that, I got to learn through this process. Lots of things I never really thought about. We worked on a whole bunch of different stuff. Like I have 20 renders of every single land from every single point in the journey as we went through sketches and stuff. Like the island behind you was originally an arch, um sort of like a natural bridge, um but it just looked too awkward with the sun. It intersected in a weird way. I don't know, little stuff like that. When it comes to talking about learning how to apply this art, learning how to, like you said, with the legendary lands, like there's just so much nuance to it that was really fun to sort of navigate.
It's exceptional. It truly is. And I know that the pressure's coming. I know you got your tournament coming up, so I will ask you one more question, and then one more question for my patrons after that.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
But I would like to know if you could pick one Magic, like original piece of Magic art. It doesn't matter if it's been purchased already. If you could own an original, you had to pick one.
That's a great question. I'm gonna make you look up a card here because it is I always forget it. Is it? I always forget how to spell it. Yeah, here it is. So it is the showcase version of Embereth Shieldbreaker from Thrones of Eldraine. It is by far like my favorite art, probably in the whole game. I have a lot of favorite art. Most, like, this is probably my favorite non-landscape art. All my other favorite sort of landscapes come from John Avon, who's a big influence of mine. Like any of his islands specifically, right, it would definitely be on there. But if we're talking just any card, I absolutely adore Jeremy Wilson's Embereth Shieldbreaker. It's so good. I love the way the colors are.
And then it would be The Island by John Avon.
Like, I love his Unstable Island, but there are so many. I gotta look up his, because I always forget pictures. I always forget names. I only remember the pictures. But yeah, I mean, I forgot he did those Academy runes. Like, everything he does is just fantastic.
Can I just take John Avon's entire catalog, please?
It's just, I mean, and there's so many ones that you just don't realize that he did that are just like Dakmor Salvage, like Darksteel Citadel. Like, he's just, yeah, by far. Just, I love him. I love other artists I really love is I mentioned him before, but Aaron Miller. I am a big fan of Victor Adame Dominguez. I have I just got a second artist proof the other day, but my first and only artist proof up until then was a Victor Adame Morphon the Boundless, which is a very treasured piece of my collection.
Oh my goodness.
He was a big help because when I started off and I didn't know anything about not only like how Magic does stuff, but I had no idea how artists are supposed to do stuff. And this might have been like a very naive thing for me to do, but when I found out like how much Wizards wanted to pay me or whatever, and like how they were doing things and what I should expect, I messaged Victor on Twitter. It was kind of dumb because he's kind of like a pro, but I didn't know who else to send a message to for help. Just like I wanted to ask him like, hey, is this a good rate? Is this like what I should expect? Blah, blah, blah. And he was super kind. He was like, he answered my questions. He helped me out a bunch with like just some confusion points I had and like figuring out the paperwork and whatnot. He was so helpful. It was very weird that like, is this artist I respect who's, stopping their day to help me out. It was very cool. I'll do that.
And well, I mean, and I feel like I got as much as I could out of you before you go and win your tournament and win your which tournament are you going to win, or you'll win it, but which one are you going to win? Let's be positive about it.
Oh yeah. Do you mean format or where it's at or?
I was like, I thought it's, well, I guess all of them. Is it the format? If the format is to win a dual land, or am I just completely immoral?
Oh yeah, well, it's in the modern format. I'll be playing in modern. But yeah, we're competing to win a dual land. I'm very excited.
Which dual land? Is it just any dual land?
It is a very heavy, not very heavy played, but it's a fairly heavy played Volcanic Island, which is I definitely need to add to my collection.
Who doesn't, right?
Yeah. I want to play Legacy eventually, but those dual lands are expensive.
Hey, you'll get there, buddy. I tell you what.
Ben is astonishing. And you want to know what else is astonishing? Just how creepy the song Living La Vida Loca is. She makes you take your clothes off and go dancing in the rain. She never drinks water, makes you order French champagne, and then you wake up in New York City in a funky cheap hotel where she took your heart and she took your money after she slips you a sleeping pill. Everyone's dancing to a ditty about the black market. It's madness, I tell you, madness. Okay, good night.
Bye-bye.